weird thing. Aaron, I want you to come this way and put maybe the back of your chair next to this corner so that you're not going to smack into it with your bow arm. We're just going to angle. Can you get up? I'm ripping the chair from underneath you. Sitting. Right? Like that. And then just put that way. Better. Okay. Now I can be selfish. Alan, make sure you're in tune. Eugene, if you higher. And you guys are, so your performance, let's work backwards. If you're gonna hit that, scoot forward. We don't want you to injure your elbow in any way. Are you good?
I think so.
Okay. Performance is November 10th, correct? That's your concert?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and who's your coach, who you've been working with?
Yeah.
Sorry, what's the name? Dylan, okay. Great, and I get to see you one more time in a couple weeks, I think. So, 3 weeks, something like that, yeah. Okay, cool. Yay, you made it all the way through. Good. The beginning seems really familiar. And then in the in the development, less familiar. In the recap, sort of familiar. At the very end, it's like, what's happening? So I think basically you guys have a really good handle on this. Each of you is it's wonderful to hear your skill level. So what you've done so far, yay. And we're gonna dive in. Ella, do we have rehearsal letters, bar numbers, anything? There's nothing in the score.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
I thought it was measured. I was gonna.
It ain't. So you're gonna have to just help me. You guys are gonna have to help me.
Yeah.
So first thing, as violinists, you gotta have all your notes learned. You have to have like the magic fingering for all those noodly parts. If you need help, I'm a violinist. I can totally help you. Take it to your teacher. Find fingerings that absolutely work all the time, 100%. You cannot be floundering. So from this day forward, no more, what am I doing there? Just figure it out. It's like finding like the right key to a door or something. That's how I always envision, like, how am I gonna get around, so you just keep working and see what fingerings work for you. But just make sure that when you've got those measures and you know where they are, I saw you wrinkle your nose a couple of times, like, oh, that didn't work. Just find things that work. By concert time, you're gonna be stellar. It's gonna be fantastic. But if we need to work on things, I can totally help you. So can I just hear the beginning? The few things that I am gonna attack. Rhythm, yeah, ba, 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 ba. It's like jazz, okay? It's like, So I think you guys are thinking, and Ella, I hear this in your playing, yeah, ba, ba, ba. Don't show me where the beats are, because Beethoven wrote syncopations for a reason. Just think of it as like early jazz. So when we get into the places where there's a lot of this syncopation going on, like there are a couple times where Alan, you and Aaron have the da 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 da, and it gets a little bit out of sync. So we're gonna attack that. Can we go from the beginning? And when do you have letters or numbers for rehearsals?
Yeah.
Okay. I will try to just scream out a letter when we get there. Can we go from the beginning? In my little speech, has anybody talked to you about Beethoven's compositional style? Have any of you played Beethoven before?
Yeah.
What have you played? What have you played?
Like piano pieces.
Are you a pianist?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Lovely. Ellen?
A lot of two-track pieces, like for
Chamber music? Or?
yeah, like orchestra and ensembles.
Mm-hmm.
Think like orchestra, and right now I'm working on a Beethoven piece that's repertoire.
What is it?
Romance. It's just called Beethoven.
For violin?
Yeah.
For violin and orchestra?
No, it's just for just like repertoire.
Okay. The F major or G major? F major.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the Opus 50. I think that's that one. In Beethoven, he writes music, but he also writes dramatic silence. And in every piece of Beethoven that you play, whatever instrument it's on, whatever ensemble you're in, you have to look at how does he use the rest. Does everyone have a score? Get your scores out, unless I stole it. Did I steal it? I stole your score. You can share with Alan. Get your score out, get it onto the floor, or put it on your stand, because the music that you see in your own part is 1/3 of what he wrote. That's like eating 1/3 of your dinner. Or Mike buying you a bubble tea and saying you can only have 1/3 of it. I can do this. So, at the beginning, take a look at measure 2, either in the score, or Ella, you can see the score that's on the floor. These rests at the end of measure 2 and the end of measure 4 are part of the music. If we remember that Beethoven went down, at this point in his life when he wrote this piece, this was early on, this is Opus 3, so this is kind of early on in his published music. He still had all of his hearing, with him. Later on in life, he went completely deaf, and so his later piano sonatas, if you ever get there, Opus 109, 110, 111, those giant piano sonatas, he was completely deaf when he wrote that stuff. But if we can honor the rests, that would be great. And what do I mean by that? I'd like for you to freeze, because this is where the music kind of comes to a halt. We don't know what's gonna come next. In the recap of your movement, he uses dramatic rests, dramatic pauses that are written out. And so I don't want you to be like, yeah, I think I'll play, okay, yeah, I'm gonna play. No, those are moments where we have to have our chamber music choreography going. And it's so effective if we honor the rests by doing something physically. So I just want you to freeze. Yep, ba 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 da dum. Ba da ba da dum ba da dum. Yep, ba ba. So he actually stops the music with the rests. Those are not random at all. So freeze, and then you can give an upbeat, whoever's giving the upbeat, whoever's cueing it, to, it's like freeze tag. Freeze! And then like, okay, unfreeze. Can we try at the beginning? So when you get to the rests, I want you to just be frozen, but ready to go on. Who's giving the cue? Yeah, cool. Make sure everybody's ready. Freeze. Same thing. Same freeze. Good. Now, Alan, what you're doing with your bow is actually not freezing. You're taking your bow off the string. That's lovely, but I notice it. So if you can just take the bow off the string, just literally. It's like in a movie when people go from normal real time to like slow-mo where they go, whoa, suddenly they're moving slowly. We're kind of trying to freeze time. So be calm with your bow, and you guys will cast this magic spell over your listeners who are receiving this sonic experience. They will listen more carefully. They'll be like, what happened? Everybody will be like, oh, they stopped. And you're like, not really, we're going on. Let's try it again. Be careful what you do with your bow in the air. So you can take just a little bit of time. I know you're thinking, I only have an eighth rest. But we change mood from like this kind of punchy, very military sound to da-da-da-da, let's talk about something beautiful, gorgeous, something. It's a character change. So these pickups that you have in bar 8, I think it's bar 8? Your B flat.
Yeah.
The pickups to bar 9, pardon me. That has to be a completely different mood, right? Let's do that one more time. And Alan and Ella, can you push forward? Yep, ba 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 da dum. This actually needs to be felt. Okay. He writes allegro con brio, which means allegro with like ketchup, or what is con brio? What do you think it means? If I said, we're going to have for lunch chile con carne, what does that mean?
With me?
With. So con means with.
Yeah.
Allegro means fast, happy, cheerful. Con is with. No, we're not having meat here. We're having brio. What's brio? Don't say brioche. That's right. Allegro con brio, with life, with gusto. So this has to have some kind of like quickness to it, as if, I just passed out Halloween candy to you right now. I'm like, okay, let's play. We're all sugared up. Let's do it. Ya ba 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 da da. Da 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 ba ba da da ba ba da da. Rest. Ba ba ba. So let's try it in 2. Your eighth notes and your syncopations need to be moving forward. Ya ba 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 da da. We're gonna meet on the downbeat of the second bar. That's where those end up. Okay. Freeze. Nice, Ella. Freeze. Let him take it. Into Alan. almost like this rolling bass. If you, an accompanimental line that just is an arpeggio basically, we're just rolling through the arpeggio. Can you really feel it? Can we just, it's just a mind trick rather than you know, that really holds us back. And I'd like for this to be chondrio, with life, with movement. Can I just hear you right there? This is bar 9. Good, and your last 3 eighth notes are going to be your pickup to the melody that you have, because Aaron played 3 pickup notes to his melody. If you can look in the score on line 2, 3rd measure, back up by 3 eighth notes, da, 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 da. You get the same thing, da, 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 da. So you have to phrase your last 3 eighth notes, all right? So I would suggest, it's exactly what I was gonna do. Good. So can we go from the beginning again? I like this feeling, this kind of, you know, like you get going but then you stop and we're filled with surprise. Really freeze. Go for it, Alan. Into Ella. Okay, now here, you ended up on the beat. Ya ba 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 ba. If you just play these separate bows, starting down bow, down up, down up, down up, down up. Every single one of the syncopations going over the bar line will therefore end up on a down bow. So, can you play
So
this?
like here.
So this is down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, yeah. So you'll feel every one of the syncopations that goes over a bar line is a down bow.
Okay.
It's pretty easy. It's written kind of strangely there, isn't it? The way it appears in the score, well, you can see. That's probably easier to read than,
Yeah,
it's kind of
it's
strange.
just
It's,
a spacing.
yeah, it's weird, isn't it? All right, can I just hear you? Aaron, this is bar 16. Da, 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 ba, 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 ba. Down. Uh-huh. You falling behind? Yeah, ba, ba, ba. You can also think of this as being, there are 2 eighth notes tied together, kind of, right? A syncopation, or it looks like a quarter note, but it's actually 2 eighth notes worth, right? Because 2 eighth notes equal a quarter note?
Yeah.
Okay. Clip each one. Da, ba, 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 ba. So you don't need to sustain the entire time. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So a little bit more space between, yes, stay in tempo, but put just a little bit of space in between each one. Aaron, it's gonna go for you when you have this too. And 1. And 1. That should help you keep track better. And if you need to write a down bow over the syncopes that go over a bar line, do it, if that helps you. I see all these hash marks in your part, like, oh my gosh, that looks like computer coding, what's going on with it? Great, in bar 16, can I hear the downbeat, just viola cello? We're going from the downbeat forward. Awesome. That is really great. The ba-da-da and da-da-da, perfect. You guys sound really good. Can we put all this back together? And let's start in, let's have Alan take his pickups to bar 13. Ba-da-da-da-da.
Just like great.
bar 27, yes?
Yeah.
Oh, we made it to bar 27, how lovely. All right, so I don't know if anybody's told you, Ella knows that I always say this. I hope you know, because I've said it every year I've known you. In Western classical music, musical gestures tend to come in sets of 3. Does this sound familiar? She's like, oh, this again. So, like da 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 da, da 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 da, we expect da 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 da, but did Beethoven write that? No, he wrote da 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 da. You'll find this in pretty much every piece of Western classical music, with a few exceptions, of course. That the musical gestures come in sets of 3. The first 2 resemble each other. The third time's a charm, and we go somewhere different. Right here. That's number 1. Number 2 is your next measure. No, sorry, your first measure is the second time is the same skeletal rhythm, but we just fill in all the 16ths. The third time you have 2 entire measures of 16ths. So that's where he changes it. Can I just hear this? Slowly. Slow-mo. Try that one again. Right, the D, the first D that you have, da, ba da da dum, is on the second beat. Da, second big beat. And then good. I would recommend up, 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 down, up, up, down, up, down, up. Is that what you're doing? The first one.
Yeah.
Okay, can I hear that? Now the next one, can you start lowering the bow? Now the next one, can you use whole bows on the slurs? Suddenly you're getting 3 times the amount of sound. This is what you need. You tend to play, at least from what I've seen in the 34 minutes I've seen you, you tend to play only in the upper half of the bow. As the violinist, as the top voice of a string trio, you've got to be able to open up your sound a little bit more. So use the whole, you bought the whole thing, just use the whole thing, right? So the first one, get closer to the frog, whole bows, and then go for it. Can you write something in your prayer about that? I think we're gonna go back to your pickups, Alan. Before measure 13. Where's B, Alan?
E would be where I have,
Okay, that's bar 41.
yeah.
Okay, hit it, Alan. Can you tell them where you're starting?
Oh, the at before 13, the 3. Well, my 3.
Where we started?
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yay. As trio mates, when you're hearing a melody and you want to hear more, say something, but in a nice way. Okay, don't be like our president who's very rude. Just be like, do you think you can use more bow, please? Something really nice. That sounds awesome. You really sound like a soloist now, which you have to be, and then you gotta absorb back into the trio. Everybody has their solo moment, so we have to kind of do that. It's like on the piano when we voice things. All right, let's move forward from A. So Aaron, when this comes back, a million bars from now in the recap, it's the same thing with the way you use your bow, okay? I pick on you because I'm a violinist, violin teacher. So sorry. So sorry. A. Let's do right on A. Don't forget the drama of the rests, Alan. Wait a second. We're sitting back like, okay, now our tempo can relax. Can it? That sounds allegro. I want allegro con brio. A little bit more forward motion. Maybe write a slight arrow forward there. I don't know. That's kind of where we regroup and say, oh yeah, here's that familiar stuff from the beginning. Okay. Sorry. Who's the boss here, rhythmically? She's always the boss, sorry. She's always the boss. Because she plays the fundamental, the lowest fundamental, and she's probably got more rhythmic stuff than you guys, either of you guys would ever have. So, you have to listen to her, alright? Ella's a super nice person, so she'll be a very nice boss. But I think you guys are too slow, right, Ella? Is that what you felt?
Yeah.
Okay, do it again. You're rushing a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, you're making your life a little bit difficult. Alan's like, great, I thought it was rushing. Let's do it again. Wait a second, that was a really good illustration. Musical gestures come in sets of 3. Did you know that? If you walk away from today's coaching with any information from me, remember that. I should get like a temporary tattoo and just put it on everybody's arm. You know? That was awesome. Do it again. Shh. So are you doing down, up? Yep, up, down.
No, I do down,
Can you just
down,
play for me? Sorry, this is after a 5th bar.
fifth. I was saying before.
Good. Now, do you have dots on those last quarters? Da 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 with a dot.
Yeah.
Can it be shorter? It's just so lovely and beautiful. It just needs to be da da da. Da da da. Da da. Short. You're vibrating that note, and it's great, but your bow is a little lazy, a little too long. Da da da. Just touch it and get out. But don't accent it. 5th of A, everybody. Ella. Can everybody tell Alan where we're starting?
No, don't worry about it.
Good. Let's just double check your fingernail work this time in bar 37, which is before B, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can we start where your triplets start? Can I just hear you?
37.
35, that's where you start the triplets, yeah. Good. So as a violin teacher, this is like the 10-second violin lesson. Relax your shoulder. Put all that motion into your bow arm. Don't include your shoulder. If you have a one-piece bow arm like this, maybe I'm making you nervous. I don't mean to. Relax this and just use your elbow. I often tell my students, pretend like we put a little baby kitten right here and you don't want to wake her up because she'll scratch you. Okay. So move your shoulder down. Good, go on. Is that not easier? The baby kitten trick, it always works. So what happens is if you are including your shoulder, Aaron, the whole arm locks up because this muscle right here, the one that feels so good when we get a massage, the whole arm locks up and has to move quickly as a one-piece bow arm, and that's so uncomfortable. So relax your right shoulder, put your little baby kitten right on your shoulder, and use the rest of your bow arm. It'll work. That sounded great. Ella, you know who plays when, right? Starting in 35?
Yeah.
Okay? Can you write maybe like violin, viola? It's like a tennis match and you're the line judge. You're like, hello, hello, hello. Okay. And then Alan in bar 36, bar 38, can you drive it forward just a little bit? You're playing very precise triplets. And I'll say it again, it sounds allegro, not allegro con brio. Yeah, da 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 da. It needs to have just a little bit like, yeah, let's push this thing forward just a little bit. We're gonna start in bar 35, which is the forte, before letter B, between A and B. Good. This already sounds tons better the way you're using your bow studio. Ella, you know that every triplet that Alan plays has to line up with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. The good news is, that sounds great. The bad news is, you're really rushing, almost rushing 2 before B. Who's playing with you there? Yeah, turn that page. Who's playing with you 2 before B? Is Ella driving the bus there?
Wait.
Top of page 2. Y'all need to get your bar numbers in there. I teach violin and chamber music here at Stanford. I've done so for the past 15 years, and every chamber music student who works with me knows they had better walk in with letters, numbers, scores numbered, everything, because I always refer to the score, because that's what you're playing. You just have the convenience of having your part, economically printed on your 2 pages, but what you're playing is the score. You're not just playing like the cello part. You guys matter, and she needs to know what you're doing. All right? So who's playing with
So
you?
they're like from
2 bars before letter B.
39. Oh, I'm myself. Except
Ain't nothing
this-
happening, it's just you, right? So you can take a little nudge of time if you wish. You can do something, whatever you want musically. Again, letter B, which is the second bar of second line, page 2, where the piano is. Our mood has changed. Look at what the cello has. She now has those rolling arpeggiated eighth notes that the viola had. And so we're back in this more kind of, soothing, it's not calm, but it's like more soothing kind of mood. So I'm just pointing out that you need to know that you have a little bit of license to do something if you want. 2 bars before B. You have B in your parts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is it printed in there?
No.
Great. Can we start at measure 35, which is before B? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's so forte. And Alan, that was great. That con brio. That was good. 35, please. Now, I would love for this to just illustrate something like, you're the movie director, I just paid $15 to go see your movie. What am I seeing? What mood? What character? What's happening? What action? It's certainly not like,
Like bouncy and playful.
bouncy, playful. Maybe we have like 2 characters and they're like flirting with each other or something. Or they're talking to each other and they're teasing each other. Musical gestures come in 3. We expect but Beethoven writes let me rephrase that. Make something of that, okay? And I know that you have no dynamic there, but the music goes ya-da-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Maybe put a little bit of extra vibrato on the B natural. Let's do right at letter B. I loved what you did, Erin, going into B. You changed the character. Wasn't that lovely? Actually, let's do 35 again, 64 B, just so give another crack at that. So what you're doing now is you're bringing out characters in the music. You are not playing orchestrally. At Payco, you have two jobs. To play an orchestra, but to also play chamber music. And it's like you have to have two different hats. It's like, am I an orchestral player, very precise, and I'm with, the other 8 people in my section, not gonna take much time unless everybody does, you're a part of a team. It's kind of like being on a rowing team where everybody has to be in unison, nobody can break out and be a soloist. However, your other hat that you wear as a chamber musician in Payco, you have to get your radar up. And you have to play more like a soloist who's super sensitive to the other people around you. How lucky you are to be in Payco that you get to do both things instead of just like, I'm 14th chair, second violin in a giant orchestra. I never get to do anything where I hear myself. You get to hear yourselves. So enjoy this, make the most out of this. 6 before B. He's being, kind of the guy who's rowing the boat here, and you've got to fit within that. So, yeah, bar numbers, yes? No, yes. Okay, is there a letter C anywhere inside?
Yes,
C
but the
is,
pianos.
Yeah.
Give me a bar number, please.
53.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. And D somewhere?
67.
Okay,
Oh,
no,
69.
9, okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. I do that all the time. So, it's Ella's tune, right? At letter C. And the bar before C, Alan, I'd like for you to play your scale, da 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 da, and just like, here you go. Hand it to her, don't just say, I'm playing a scale, da 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 da. I want you to lean towards her and say, here you go, I was gonna play it, but baby, I gave it to you. That's called chamber music, you share the music. All right, can you write something in? Just write like, to Ella, or something, or to a cello. Bar before C. Yeah, this just on like the last 4 notes of your scale. It's like, here you go, take it, Ella. I don't know if you guys ever listen to jazz music, or have you ever seen a jazz? I mean, I think that's something that comes later in life for you guys. An introduction to jazz. If you ever see a jazz combo, a trio, a quartet perform, they are looking at each other and they're literally like, take it, Aaron. Like, I just played a solo, it's yours now. And the structure of jazz is that you're kind of like passing the frisbee, like, okay, it's your turn. And then you do your thing and you're like, okay, it's your turn. So this is called chamber music sharing. So I would strongly suggest between the now and the next time I see you, I want you to decide, to whom are you passing something? Or with whom are you sharing something? Like right here at letter C. Ella has this tune for 4 measures, for 3 measures, and then suddenly Aaron plays da 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 da. And that's kind of like a reaction to what she's playing. You're going, mm-hmm, say that again. Musically, that's kind of what you're saying. You're like the mm-hmm. So you need to know that you are commenting on what you just heard in the cello, all right? So you can write uh-huh or whatever. That's Beethoven has written like commentary. And when you start viewing music this way, especially chamber music, then you really bring the music to life. If you're just And I'll go back to being orchestral. Not that I have anything against being in orchestras, but your role is quite different. Don't play this orchestrally, people. This is not orchestra music. Playing your part alone is not good enough. Illuminating the music, bringing it to life, making it like a conversation, that's playing chamber music, okay? Where should we start? Four before C. This is bar 49. Am I right? Yay, I'm counting correctly. More Ella. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're a little bit late. Da-ba-da. Can we just do in slow motion right on letter C? And Aaron, if I were you, I would look at Ella and go, like, yeah, I agree. That was a nice thing you just said. You know, instead of just da, 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 da. Otherwise, we don't get it. Your listener doesn't get it. Sorry, Ella, I always say all the same things that I'm saying when I teach, but you're gonna hear it again. When you're a chamber musician, a good portion of what you do is sonic, using your sense of hearing, right? Another major portion of what we do is visual. So I want you guys to look at each other. Nobody's gonna like burst into flames if, you know, Aaron looks at you. No, you're handing it off. You're passing the frisbee. You have a focal point to, you know, answer to or to pass along something. So lean over and say, okay, like it's okay to look at her. I know you're just playing a scale, you know, right before C. It's okay to say, here you go. That's basically what you're saying musically. And then your moment, lean in and say, da, 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 and then let her take it again. So Ella, rhythmically, the 2 beats of rest in bar 56, 4th of C, you're waiting too long. If you can hear the 8th notes that both these guys are playing, you can jump in right on it, okay? 4 before C again, please. Breathe together, fill your lungs together. Alan, you're a little late. Put your bow on the string and yep, ba, ba, ba. That's it. Listen to the 8th notes. Now you're getting it. I know you're like feeling really silly, but what you're doing is you're illuminating, you're giving life to this music. And it's so much more fun this way. Y'all are smiling, you guys are having fun. This is chamber music. Okay? Who knew, right? So much fun. 4 before C, Alan, can your syncopation be yup, ba, 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 a little more pointed? So a little bit more adherence of the bowed string. Yup, ba, ba, at the beginning of each one. Can I just hear that? Just your syncops. This is bar 49, 4 before C. Yeah, don't worry so much about the sustaining, but the beginning, as if every note began with a or if you're playing it on a keyboard, ba, 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 ba. It's the beginning of the note that I need, not so much the sustaining. Exactly. So it's more in your bow arm than it is in your left hand. Good. Let's everybody 4 before C. Let's do this one more time. Ella, when you practice, I want you to fill at letter C. I want you to fill your long notes. Just fill them up with 8 notes. You're a little bit behind. What you're doing is playing beautifully and musically, but you're just playing the cello part. And we have to have all the parts mesh together, all right? So you're a little late on that low F. The beginning of the low F, and it's a little too long, just enough to kind of, you know, cause a speed bump in our music. You're 4 before C, everybody. look at each other. If you can't look into each other's eyes, if that's uncomfortable, look at eyebrows. Everybody has awesome eyebrows. Except for Aaron's eyebrows are all like covered up. Great. I'm gonna ask you a couple of pop quiz questions. Are you ready? Get your scores, because the score has all the answers. You guys are playing so beautifully. This is chamber music. I dare you to tell me it's not fun. Oh my gosh, you guys sound so awesome. Before letter D, which is bar 68, on our score, it's the last line. The second measure is where the pianist voice. That's letter D. Okay. Before letter D, count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would be right here on our score. Next to last line, second measure. See why you need numbers? Hello, people. Who's got the melody? We're gonna go measure by measure from there. Who's got the melody? Somebody just shout out a name of an instrument that has a melody. Viola. Viola cello. It's a duo, right? Next measure. This is measure 62. Violin and cello. And then the next measure. It's an all play. It's a trio. Right there. Can we start and look in your music? In your own parts. This is before letter D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars. What's our bowing? Ella, what bowing are you playing down there? The D, C sharp. Can you just play for me? Can we do down, up, down, up? Can you just try it? Don't write it. Don't write it. No. Down, up, slur, up, down, up. Great. Alan, can you join her? And let's try that down, up, down, up. This is 6 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 before D. It's 85% there. The first up bow that you have, I'm so picky. The first up bow that you have doesn't quite start together. Great. 6 before D, can we add everybody? This is where the trio actually is a trio. Wait a second. Did you hear their articulation? Ella, play it again. Alan, play yours. My ESP saying shorter eighth notes. Can I hear you? Try to lower the bow, relax your shoulder. It's still too long. I went da, ba, ba, da, ba, ba. Your first eighth note of the two that are ups is too long. So 2 things, sit up straight and relax your right shoulder. Place that baby kitten, write my name or her name. Did that sound better? See, I didn't even have to tell them to say yes. They just said yes. Can we put the trio together 6 before D?
Oh, I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, he's a smart fellow. This Alan, he's a smart fellow. The 2 eighth notes need to be shorter, but also together. All right? 6 before D. Did not start together. Breathe together before you begin. Alan, you gotta breathe too. sorry, a dotted quarter and an eighth. What can you do to make sure that you're playing the articulation Beethoven wrote?
For
Oh my gosh, it's like a math word problem. Should I say it again? 2 before D.
yeah, okay.
I'm hearing your articulation, the way if I was gonna write on the board like what I'm hearing, the rhythm that I'm hearing, I hear a dotted quarter and an eighth. What can you do with your bow specifically to play the rhythm that you wrote? Shorter, long note, da, ba ba, ba ba, ba ba. You have to make way for that 1/8 note that they have that should be without violin. So you can play that quarter note a little bit shorter, it's fine. Now you guys are sounding like a trio. Can I do that? Can we do that again? This is bar 63. Yes, you were each breathing. No, you were not breathing together. Can we try to inhale at the same time? Excellent. That's how this fits together. Okay, get to know your score. Don't just play your part. And so we're at letter D, right? It's pianissimo.
Yeah.
How softly can you guys do it? Can I hear it right at letter D? Go. In tempo, but very soft. Can you breathe together? Alan, you have lungs. I hope you do. All I see is this. Hello. And we need to, as if you're about to say something really important, like, oh my gosh, I just won the lottery, or instead of like, oh my gosh, I just won the lottery. Take an inhale with them. This is part of chamber music as well. You know what? I have an idea. Why don't you give the cue? Shh. Okay, so let's do an experiment. How little sound can you produce? Not slow, just soft, as if we took the, volume knob and we turned it almost all the way down. Alan, give the cue. Start. More, Okay, excellent. I will give you guys permission to not vibrate at letter D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measures. Okay? Try it. And if anybody says, you guys aren't vibrating, say, Deborah Fong said we didn't have to. Just blame me. I'll take all the blame. Pico blames me for a lot of cool things like that. So, right on letter D. Alan, did you look around and make sure everybody was ready? Don't use your peripheral vision. Look directly at Ella. She won't burst into flames, I promise you. Look directly at Aaron. Okay, soft does not mean slow. Accent.
I was trying to do, but then I'll end up accenting, even though it's supposed to be like piano.
So then don't ask.
That's 81, I think.
True.
8, right where I start, right at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did I count wrong?
Maybe I got it wrong, cause.
Letter D is bar 6-9, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 7.
Bar 82, right? 82, sorry. 82 is where you have the piano and the half note.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I think it should. I don't know. We tried both ways, and then if I were to like play down, I'll end
This
up accenting it.
da-da-ha. That seems backwards to me. Can you just do
Okay,
a
I'll
really
try-
soft
I'll try that.
landing? Just give it a try. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and we've tried it. Check that one off the list. Okay? Can I just hear you? Can I hear everybody write the fortes? 7, 8, 9, 80, 81, bar 81. Is there a letter?
No.
No,
On our footer. On
Lovely.
a
Okay.
lot way.
Where's D? Wait, we had D. E?
E is 119.
Oh, I haven't counted that far. Okay. Ella, what do you have?
Where E is?
At E? Sorry.
A5.
Okay, the whole
note.
note, that's E? Okay. Good to know. Alright, so let's start here at 82.
1.
78, 79, 80, yes, 81. I can count. So it's a quick down bow. Yum, ba, down, stay near the frog. Relax your right shoulder and let the bow move, not your shoulder move, okay? Breathe. Play for you. You don't have a cold or anything, right? Can I borrow your instrument? I won't break it, I promise. Show me what this is.
Let's see. Okay.
He's like, that's totally not anything I've ever tried.
Yeah, I just tied it over the whole
No,
time.
fine.
Okay.
So just observe the printed. And this is down, down. So these are always going to be up, down, up,
Up,
down,
Yeah.
up, down, however you want to work that out. Just give it a try. Is that my answer? No, that's right. Try it slowly.
I'm gonna. The bow is really weird.
Here, I'll mind the bowing with you. Where are you? On bar before, the 8th notes? Up, down, up, down.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can you try it? Write it in or something? And while he's doing that, Ella and Alan, may I hear you guys right there? 81. Good. I think Alan, what'll make this a little bit more audible and more smooth is just use more bow length. All right, do it again. Did you work out your bowing? Great. Can we add everybody? This is A1. A little on the slow side so that Aaron can figure out this is going 1, 2, 3, 4. More bow, Alan. What this bowing provides is the lift after every beat 1 that Beethoven has written. Because you're up bow on every beat 1, so it provides a lift. And then when we get to 85, 6, 7, 8, 88, where you come out, Aaron, where you come out of the 16th, you play 2 bars of the syncopations. Who plays after you? Aha, you have a choice. It's either her or him. So it's a 50-50 chance, right? So can you make sure you write in your part to viola? Because when you play the half notes, you guys are you're just switching parts. You know,
Yes, I do.
it's either her or it's him, so 50-50 chance of being correct. And then Alan, same question. When you finish, it's either her or him. Who do you pass the sync ups to? You play ya ba 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 ba. Who plays next? Her, right? Can you write in your part to cello? That is something that's like the frisbee that needs to be passed around, guys. Okay? Don't just play your part and say, oh, now I just have to play half notes. No! Participate. Don't just be so selfish. That's the lovely thing about chamber music, especially in today's world. We cannot be selfish. We have to share. That's the lovely thing about chamber music. Okay? Can we do again bar 81? And let's try to get to the repeat. Wait! You guys are not listening to the boss. Did you hear what Ella's playing before the repeat sign or in bar 92? You're ignoring her. You're playing da, huh. No, it's gotta be rhythmic. She has every single eighth note that's in your half notes. Don't be selfish, open your ears. Can we try this place? 8, 5, 6, 7, bar 88. This is where we're passing the frisbee. Okay, right on that. If you have half notes, listen carefully to the syncopations, please. Ella, can you give the cue for this? We'll try that again. That was so wrong. Let's try that again. Oh my gosh. So, this is a practice technique that I would like for you guys to employ. Slow motion. I take my magic wand and I go. Now you can only move in slow motion. These are quarter notes. Be patient. It's gonna take a long time for us to get anywhere near the repeat sign. I'm gonna break my hand knot, but I'm gonna clap the beat. This is quarter beats. When Ella has her frisbee moment, gentlemen, she's the boss. 1, 2, same playing, 88, 2.
Oh my god. Okay.
You're the boss, remember that. Pass it along. Be patient. Here comes the moment we're waiting for. Listen. I'm not gonna go any faster, sorry. I said be patient. We are in slow motion. Oh my goodness, that was so hard, wasn't it? Slow motion practice will help solidify rhythm every single time. My husband is the cellist of the St. Lawrence String Quartet. They are a professional quartet that's been around for 30 years. They are playing on the world stage every single week. They rehearse like this. Isn't that nuts? It's like, ooh, it kind of works. Can we go ahead slightly bit faster? Ella was like, I'm tired of going slow. I want to go fast. No. Just because you're the boss does not mean you can alter our plan. Do I need to keep clapping? Would that help?
It's
Always.
always right.
Still in 4. And Aaron, I think if you can visibly like raise those eyebrows that are hidden behind your, your coif, and pass it along. The first time you looked at Alan, he was like, okay. You really need to share. Really, it's like you're talking to me like. I want you to really say, here you go. All right, 1, 2, 3. Wait, we want to go faster. Don't look at me! Wait, don't look at me! I have nothing to do with this. I'm just the clapper. You gotta pass it to Alan. I'm so flattered, thank you, but I can't participate because you guys are a trio. 1, 2. Breathe together. Stay patient. Softer, softer, softer. Breathe. Musical gestures come in sets of 3. Your last 3 notes are one little set. Can we play soft? Oh, look, we made it to the double bar. You guys have been sticking with me and my crazy ideas for almost the full hour and a half. You've been focusing really well. Thank you very much. We're not done, but I just wanted to let you know this kind of work is going to take your group from being, pretty good to being a real chamber group. It's this kind of stuff that makes a huge difference. So in rehearsal, don't wait for somebody to tell you what to do. Create ideas. Offer them to your trio mates. Say, hey, let's try the slow motion, or let's try listening to cello. And like I said, have your score out, because that is all the music that he wrote. If you're just looking at like the viola part, then you only get 1/3 of My Bubble Tea. Can we go from beginning to here? Look around, it's chamber music. Here's 1, 2. Listen to the echoes. Don't go faster in an effort to try to fix it. He's got 80 gazillion notes to your 1. And if you push him, because you're like, this is the tempo, this is the tempo, this is the tempo, that's, I think that's only going to make our problems magnified.
That's fine, though.
Okay? I don't think we decided what tempo we were going to go, right? Let's start again. Aaron, the rule of 3. Musical gestures come in sets of 3. Ba, 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 da, da, ba, 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 da, da. Use your bow, sir. Da, ba, ba, da, 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 da. All right, use your bow. Baby kitten, use your bow. All right. Do you have to come to your concert on the 10th? Baby kitten. Come on. Can you give the cue? So if you are feeling that you're breathing for everybody, pass the responsibility around. Start this 3 or 6 times, and everybody take a turn at what it feels like to lead the cue. So I think, Alan, you really need to lead the cue because you're following, and I want you to really participate and lead. So why don't you lead it? Freeze. Relax your shoulder. One, two. More, more. Pass it along, Alan. Short, short. Keeps moving. Less, less, less. Nice job, guys. So, Alan, there was that one moment where you're like, "Hello, Aaron." You remember where that was?
Like the one at the
Yeah,
end.
ba 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 ba. He's like waiting for the frisbee. He's like, where are you? Hello. Can you write to Viola and really send it along? Ella, both times that I had to get you back in tempo, you're just dragging. You're just late. And you have to make sure rhythmically you jump right on the train. When you get in bar 92, ya ba 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 ba, your long notes are too long. You're a little bit late. And then specifically where you come in between at letter C, after the 2 beats of rest in the 4th bar, when you come back in, you're late entering and you're slow. Who's got all the 8th notes for you? He's not gonna accommodate you, right? Yeah. You just keep chugging along. You're a little bit late to enter on the low F and slow to get off the low F. All right, so you're kind of laggy, those 2 places, that's kind of rhythmically getting us going. I get to work with you in a couple of weeks, and I'd like to make sure that you have bar numbers in your scores before the next time you guys rehearse, so that you can reference the score together as a group, okay? I think that bowing with all the ups on the downbeats, that's gonna work. The one at the bottom of your page.
Okay.
I think that's gonna work. Good, can we go on just a little bit? I'd get you for 3 more minutes, right? Great, good, go on. Oh, and by the way, in performance, I would not take this repeat because we'll be there all night. Now, as we move forward for the next 3 minutes, I want you to be not just playing your parts, but listening for when do you share a part with somebody, or when do you pass a certain musical line to somebody. That's E? Right there?
E is 119.
Okay.
What key
Here
are
we
you?
E,
And
right?
Yeah, that's
Okay, I put it in the wrong place. What key are we in? Is he right? I mean, he's always right, but I would trust him on this one. How did we get there? What key did we start in? E flat major? Yeah. Say your vowels very, very clearly. This is a different, warmer kind of sound. So when, you know, we're violinistically, we're playing the next to lowest note you can. And it's like, I want to be a viola. So if you can really have a warmer sound, kind of like your Darth Vader voice, okay? Articulation does not match from the double bar up to letter E. What can we do to make your quarter notes after you play yada ba 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 beats 3 and 4, when you have quarter notes on beats 3 and 4? What can we do to make those match? I think play them shorter. So let's do it from the double bar again. Short. Good. Where can we play? Can we play that lower in the bow? Ba da ba 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 ba. A little bit lower in the bow, and I'm going to ask the same thing of you here. Can Alan? Can I just hear you right in 114? Your thing. Your thing. Ba ba da ba 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 ba. Can we get the bow off the string for the eighth notes that have the dots? Off, off. That's gonna match better. And Ella, your first statement of this is piano or pianissimo, and it needs to be shorter all the way through. Da da ba 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 through the second measure. Can I hear yours? That's much better. So short is the word to write in your parts here. And then in bar 118, so this is before letter E. Aaron, count with me. Before letter E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4.
118.
8 before, where you have the C, B natural C. Da, da, ba, 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 ba. Those last two G's that you have, those quarter notes, those are short. So get lower in the bow, please. Good, can we just do the double bar again? Lower in the bow. Wait, what dynamic is that? Fortissimo? All of this is like people creeping around, like you're tiptoeing around. It's got to be pianissimo, please. You're passing it around, and you guys need to know who has the solo when, right? Letter E is what bar?
119.
Really?
Mhm.
I think I blew it.
It's right. A flat is.
Got it. I added 10 bars along the way. I was getting real excited here, so. Let's do it again. Double bar, and then we're almost done. Short. Short. Steady and soft. Now, you start, so musical gestures come in sets of 3. Each of you has now had a turn to play the scale. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba. At 108 is where you break the pattern. Beethoven says, we're only going to take that ending snippet. Da-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. We're going to pass that around. So your quarter notes are too long. Your G quarter notes
Oh, okay.
before your whole note, those are way too long. Can I just hear you playing 107, 108? So that becomes the little figure. And who has it after you? Oh, that another question again. 109, who has it? Speak up if it's yours.
Ow.
Wait, what, oh,
Wait,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Before letter E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 before E. That's you, right?
I don't have 109 there, but yeah,
That's 109.
I like one.
And who has it after you, Alan?
Aaron.
And then who has it after you, Aaron?
And then he has it again.
Uh-huh. And then who has it after you, Alan?
Yeah, Aaron.
Ella gets to watch a little ping pong game going on here, right? This is the kind of stuff you have to figure out in rehearsal. Okay? When I see you again, I'm totally gonna expect you can play through the whole movement and you have an awareness of who has what when. I also have one final question to ask you. Let me just count. From letter E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In bar 135, there's a word there. What does that mean?
Like it's slower
Slower.
and slow and soft.
Yeah.
Did you guys do that?
No.
Yeah.
It goes on for 4 measures. Okay? The collando is just for 4 measures. It's permission to let the music kind of fade out in tempo and fade out in sound. Is there a letter at the forte?
Yeah, that's F.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. All right, I have to let you guys go. In the development, so your assignment for me, because I'm going to see you whenever I'm seeing you, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it is to know who plays what, when. Who do you pass? Like, Ella's getting back, she gets to just watch the ping pong game here. Make sure you know that and that you understand that it's all very clearly stated here in the score, okay? So don't just play your part, but know who has what when. Ella, you need to practice. I think some of this with a metronome would be really good, just to identify where you might be behind the beat or where you might get ahead of the beat. Just kind of what are your tendencies, what measure. Don't just turn the metronome on and then play for 3 hours. I mean, that's mind numbing. But maybe 4 measures at a time or 8 measures at a time, and just see where do you feel that you're not exactly with the beat. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your focus, your humor, staying with me, and I want you to really be curious about this piece. You are so lucky to be playing this music. You really are. I'll see you 3rd November?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. You're like 2 weeks to do everything. I know.